Welcome to part 2 of our 4-part series about understanding restitution. Today we will talk about what things restitution can and can't pay for. We've already talked about the difference between restitution and victim compensation, and then you can see the topics for the 2 other videos that are coming up after this about what documentation is needed for a restitution request and how to collect. Costs that can be included in a restitution request by law are defined as any pecuniary loss suffered by a victim and caused by a defendant. A pecuniary loss means something that you can attach a number to. So not things like pain and suffering. They have to be things that are directly caused by the defendant because of the crime and things that you can assign a number or a dollar amount to specifically. This can include things like out-of-pocket expenses like medical bills, parts of bills not paid for by insurance like copays and deductibles, services that you had to pay for because of an injury, like house cleaning or transportation, costs to repair your credit after an identity theft, attorney's fees if you had to get a civil protection order, reward money for finding someone responsible for a crime, replacement of damaged locks, furniture, clothes, or other items, and all of those types of things might be out-of-pocket expenses that might be covered in a restitution request. If anything was paid by victim compensation, it is usually also included in a restitution request and the final order that's entered by a court so that it's repaid to the victim compensation board. Future expenses are sometimes allowed, but they do have to be carefully documented. Things that can't be included in a restitution request include things that are not directly related to a crime. An example of this is if someone needed to get a security system because after experiencing a crime, they had general fear and anxiety. It wouldn't be covered unless there was a specific clear threat or danger from the defendant where they were responsible for the crime. Other things that can't be paid for are things that would have been paid anyway, like rent and regular bills. Even if it was harder to pay them because of the crime, they still aren't eligible to be covered by restitution. Future costs can only be included if they're well documented, like with a detailed letter from a doctor or a therapist that explains that there's a need for ongoing costs or ongoing treatment, and also assigns a dollar amount to what that cost would be. Restitution also can't pay for things that you can't put a dollar amount on, like pain and suffering or punitive damages, which in civil cases are additional fee costs charged to someone for the harm that they have caused. None of that is eligible under restitution. In our next video, we will talk about what documentation is needed for a restitution request.